Okay. Hello, all DevOps professionals and newcomers. Welcome to the first episode of DevOps Dialogues. Today, we are fortunate enough to have Bala Prasad with us, who brings a wealth of experience and knowledge from different IT industries. He handled the customers across multiple industries, starting from healthcare, finance, government, or telecommunication. He is there in almost all kind of industry areas. So, give me 1 minute. Let me just. So in today's session, we are delving in deep into the dynamic world of DevOps, where we explore the realities, both the challenges as well as terms of the DevOps implementations. And Bala is agreed to share his perspectives with us, how these challenges he addressed with various customers, how it deals with multiple areas. So Bala, I want to extend my gratitude and thanks to you for agreeing to host this session for us. So, can you please provide an overview on your professional experience and what's your background, how you influence this DevOps as a practice?
So first of all, thanks, Ambali, for hosting me, and it's a wonderful initiative you have taken up. Definitely,
Thank you.
in this ever-evolving landscape of technology and innovation, you can see a glimpse of my professional background and experience. You can imagine like a seasoned explorer navigating the uncharted waters of digital realm of over 2.5 decades. I have been with TCS from last 25 years and currently holding the title of Chief Innovation Officer and Global Head of Technology Advisory Services for the Technology, Software and Services Business Group. During this thrilling expedition, I would say that opportunities really grown me up as like a technology thought leader, a captain of high performing product development teams, and also helped me to explore the research and innovation areas with the deepest extent. Currently, my skill set has been expanded over the different oceans of domains like artificial intelligence, primarily focusing on the generative AI, to the enterprise architecture, and from the cloud solutions, DevOps, business analytics, modern workplace, performance engineering, which is very, very core to my heart, and cybersecurity. It's not a solitary one, but there is a lot of network of connections also were also part of this entire journey. I have forged as very, very strong bonds with different organizations like IEEE, Computer Society of India, Internet Society, Open Group, and FTCCI. This has all helped me to chart out the course for driving the technology evaluation programs and technology adoption programs to steer the product and service adoptions within our customer communities. This really helped me to engage further and enable my core competences to the deepest extent. And if you're really looking at my entire technology journey, it's not only looking into exploring the new and emerging technology areas, but also develop that business acumen which can help to advise the customers in the right direction. So, right from the inception of my career, I was always trying to explore my technology to the greatest possible extent and try to experiment on the new areas. In the initial stage of my experience, it was more about the .NET, but then I moved on to the cloud to work with a lot of engagements, and then I was trying to explore even the performance engineering area, enterprise architecture area, and continuously rebrand into the new technology areas. So the current expertise really helped me to explore even the low code, no code platforms, employing waterfall methods to the agile practices, and much more. So if you are really looking into the different challenges and countless discoveries which we happened as part of my journey, we were I was also very instrumental in putting up a focus on building a AI powered platforms like talent acquisition platforms or business transformation or advisory platforms, and influencing the deals worth over more than 50 to 100 million dollars as well. As a technology head, I was also fostering a lot of technology practices, incubated a lot of digital competences, and built a lot of technology offerings to our customers. DevOps being one of the important area where we focus to build DevOps offerings as a culture and also as a practice, as a kind of a offering which can be bundling with the business DevOps, DevSecOps, PrivSec DevOps likewise. So in my role as a performance architect, I was also instrumental in doing a lot of fine tuning of performance of applications, mentored the teams, and orchestrated a lot of remarkable improvements in many of the customer engagements. And as part of this entire journey, it's all about giving an experience to the customers which will be much more fruitful. And in the overall professional background and experience, you can see that I was trying to knit the threads associated to the innovation, leadership, and relentless pursuit of excellence, which really helped me to draw the way to understand the different challenges of customers and explore the new opportunities, and work out in uncomfortable zones and help them in providing the right advices and right solutions. It was a very impactful journey, I would say, within the TCS, whatever I spent.
Great, great, amazing. 2.5 decades in one company driving technology initiatives that we across multiple customers. You talks about the cultural aspects, you talks about the innovation aspects, and you dealt with the customers from multiple industries. So, do you think the DevOps implementation or the impact of DevOps is same for multiple industries, or what is your point of view for the industry specific DevOps angle?
So I'll try to take some 3 to 4 such examples which really demonstrate the journey what I've taken. So I was working with one of the finance company. So I just trying to correlate with some of the uh, musical areas, financial orchestra, you can say. So imagine a grand symphony hall filled with financial instruments, each representing a crucial aspect of banking and financial sector. So what is happening here is DevOps is acting like a conductor, ensuring like seamless harmony. So when you're working with the customers associated to the financial terms like banking, or there are a lot of transactions happens in milliseconds, and DevOps need to play a very integral part of the role to orchestrate the release of all the new financial products and services and continuously update without missing a single beat. So that is where we see there is a uh, biz DevOps playing a very important role in driving and enabling the continuous integration and continuous delivery pipelines so that your financial operations run smoothly and securely. And here we also try to maintain that kind of a tempo of the releases, maintain the consistency, reliability, and security in the financial systems, which is very core and important need. The second important area where I was trying to advise a healthcare and life sciences company, uh, being part of a high tech world, there was a consulting advisory services I was trying to provide for the healthcare and life sciences. So it was like a heartbeat of the patient care. So, trying to understand the overall culture of the hospital with doctors, nurses, and advanced medical equipment, DevOps try to ensure that the software system supporting patient records, diagnostics, treatment plans, and which are always up and running 24 by 7. You need to come out with a rapid deployment of any kind of a critical updates and security patches, and also try to safeguard the sensitive patient data. So just like a rhythmic heartbeat signifying the health, DevOps signifies the health and well-being of a lot of healthcare related or life sciences systems, improving the overall patient outcomes and the experiences. So here, DevSecOps kind of a pipeline what we created really played a very important role in ensuring that the healthcare pipelines associated to the continuous releases and security patches are taken care and the rhythm is maintained. There was also another advisory services I offered to a e-commerce system, and where they were trying to do a lot of online marketplace where millions of products are brought and sold every seconds. So again, DevOps acts like a backstage magician. No, you know that every time when website is operating on a 24 by 7, there are a lot of shopping seasons, peak seasons where you need to continuously churn out or churn in the new products based on the kind of a demand. So it requires a lot of continuous testing, automation, deployment, and scalability of your services. So there is a certain influx. Now the cloud is always there to take care of the elasticity, but DevOps ensures that it is gracefully scaled to meet the demand, providing a seamless experience for the shopping. And just like a magician tricks, customers don't really see the behind the scene, but they try to enjoy the smooth and effortless shopping experiences because behind the scene, DevOps made a big integration pipeline working seamlessly all the way. So with a continuous automation, we were able to manage that kind of a thing, and also understand the workload characteristics and ensure that elasticity rules are also bundled along with that DevOps. Again, here infrastructure as a code played a very important role as part of our journey. And the fourth example I want to touch upon is about the manufacturing advisory services which I offered on the advisory, where the efficiency was a critical aspect. Because when we are really looking at the overall facility, the machines were like a repeatedly robots which works right, trying to produce a lot of goods. Now DevOps was like a, if you try to relate with that particular taxonomy, DevOps serves like a production manager optimizing the overall efficiency in this industry where every piece of a precision speed are very critical and important. So we streamline that entire operations by automating those workflows, reduces the by reducing the downtime, minimizing the defects to the lowest possible extent, and also ensuring that every software component in that manufacturing process functions, from supply chain management to the quality control, are taken care. So when you're looking into different industry verticals, you see that DevOps is a very invisible entity, which really orchestrates and the entire symphony, maintains that rhythm, performs that kind of a magic tricks, and optimize that efficiency. It really transcends that entire industry boundaries and ensure that you are really adopting the overall methodology with the right philosophical behavior into the context. So I would, bottom line, I would say that it is like a conductor ensuring that the IT show goes flawlessly no matter what happens within the industry.
Great, Bala, great. Most of the time, we think DevOps is CI/CD or the faster release of the product to the market. So the insights you brought from four different use cases clarifies the importance of security, privacy, compliance, and efficiency, along with the faster releases. Great. So along with this, you maybe encountered some challenges in terms
Yeah.
of implementing DevOps. You dealt with customers from a startup ecosystem of small groups to millions of users or employees in a customer base. So you may dealt with multiple challenges. Can you share some of your challenges or the challenges you encountered in the DevOps implementation areas?
Absolutely. Whenever you're trying to embrace a new technology, you will definitely encounter a lot of challenges, and you need to understand as part of the overall DevOps journey. Uh, I'll just try to address some of the insights, then I get into the challenges for your knowledge. See, first thing we have observed that DevOps plays a very important role, and it can be successfully deployed in any particular organization if you embrace that culture of collaboration or transparency or continuous improvement. That is very key. And the second important thing, because this particular field is so vast, the continuous learning is very important. Means you need to keep on updating yourself with the latest tools and best practices which are keep on coming, and you need to continuously experiment also. So because you need, unless you dogfood that, you cannot really innovate or you cannot really put into the practice. The third important area we found as part of the insight, as part of the DevOps journey, is automation. We always believe that CI/CD, that's kind of a Lego building blocks. You just need to stitch it; it works. Just creating such kind of a deployment pipeline into the infrastructure provisioning, or accelerating the delivery, or reducing the manual errors, or enhancing the reliability is the key. But automation, maintaining that kind of an automation, and also maintaining the balance between the automation and human oversight plays a very important role. You cannot ignore the human oversight even though the automation is playing. The fourth important insight I want to touch upon is a security, which is a very non-negotiable entity. Earliest experimentation of the DevOps, when it was rolled out, we have not seen that security was integral part. But after some releases, we felt that bringing the DevSecOps practices are becoming a very important entity, because you do not want to maintain that afterthought approach. It should be the before thought approach, where you need to integrate the security elements also as part of the DevOps journey. And the last but not the least insight which I want to inform here is about the measurability. So there are a lot of key performance indicators which measures the success of the DevOps, like what is the lead time to the changes, what is the mean time to recover, what is the overall number of deployment frequency under which you are trying to operate. These are some of the important KPIs or metrics which are very, very crucial for assessing the effectiveness of the DevOps practices. Having understood these particular insights, it's important that let me also touch upon the challenges we faced when we worked with some of the customers. So first of all, you all know that DevOps is all about integrating playing a bridge between the development and operations and making them part of the core team. The first thing we see is a resistance to change. This is a very important challenge where we need to convince a lot of stakeholders and helping them to understand what is the benefits of DevOps and handle that resistance ahead of time. The second important challenge we need to look at is about the complex legacy systems which are there in the organizations. They're not so easy to adapt to the modern DevOps culture or modern DevOps tool sets. So integrating such kind of systems into the DevOps pipeline was also a very challenging task for us, and it requires a lot of efforts to maintain that stability because overall journey was very, very complex. We need to re-engineer some of the products also. The third important challenge we often found within the team is like there are so many tools available, so many development or deployment pipelines are available. Very difficult to make the decisions what tools are good for what purpose. So establishing the decision matrix was always a challenge, and it was a daunting task which we need to handle. The fourth important challenge is where we saw a very, very, very difficulty is what is scalability. So maintaining such kind of consistency while accommodating the growth was important. So when enterprise projects were executed across the different geographies, there are different teams working on the agile manner. So agile pods we need to create like proof of delivery teams and manage that entire scale of operations and integrating. So such kind of a growth, when it is happening, scaling DevOps becomes a very important challenge, and you need to consistently practice that. Fifth challenge where we faced is about embedding the security into the entire DevOps pipeline. It was not a very easy task. It's a very, very delicate task because we need to educate the developers that they need to develop the secure code and also integrate the security practices as part of the DevOps pipeline. Building such kind of a test cases was a challenge. And last not but the least is about the skill shortage. Initial days, we had a huge difficulty on retaining the DevOps talent, becoming very, very difficult because it not only requires full stack development, but also have the full stack DevOps knowledge where CI tools, CG tools, continuous monitoring tools, testing tools, continuous deployment tools like Docker, Kubernetes, everything was very, very in high demand. So there was a huge amount of difficulty for us to maintain the talent and build the talent on a continuous basis. Overall, I would say that DevOps is a kind of a transformative force which really improved software delivery and operational efficiency. And I strongly see that it's a cultural, technical, and organization challenges which we need to navigate and embrace through the right insights and practices, which can make a big difference.
Thanks, Bala. It's a great insights, especially dealing with the scalability aspects and all. Most of the time, we start with a POC or DevOps, start with a very smaller group, not thought through the scalability areas and also the impact metrics. We are planning another dialogue on the metrics sooner, so which can cover how we can evaluate the impact of DevOps using the proper metrics culture. That is also very important. Scalability, matrices, and the selection of tool chains. The beginning, we may select n number of tools to address the things. After that, maintenance of the tools or the cost impact will be a hindrance for the team. Okay, coming to the transformation in the technology area, we started our DevOps journey maybe with the cloud adoption or the web application world. Now we are in, most of the companies are striving the product centric approach, the product or platform based approach. So what kind of changes you are seeing observing in the DevOps world when it comes to a web application DevOps, to a product based DevOps or a platform based DevOps?
See, honestly speaking, the future of DevOps is incredibly promising. It is continuously evolving. It is adapting to the change of the overall landscape of technology and business. Some of the key observations or trends which I really look at is about how DevOps is managing and adapting to the new changes. You know about generative AI, which is becoming very, very popular in experimentation stage right now. It will be coming into mainstream adoption also in many, many ways. So AI and machine learning are becoming integral to DevOps. So AI driven automation is really helping to optimize the repetitive tasks, predict issues, and enhance decision making. So you will be start witnessing already about the ML ops and other areas, AI ops, where AI powered testing, monitoring, self healing systems are becoming very prevalent in nature. The second important area where you can really look at is which is taking a lot of traction is GitOps. GitOps is really gaining the traction because it is able to provide the capability to manage infrastructure and application migration through the entire Git repositories. It is trying to help in improving the collaboration and ensuring the infrastructure is version controlled. The third important trend, what I see in this product centric approach, is about the cloud native DevOps. So many people are trying to leverage cloud native technologies like Kubernetes, and aligning that with the DevOps practices is really helping that container orchestration, microservices, and serverless computing becoming a very important entity of investments. And the cloud native DevOps really enable that scale, offers a lot of flexibility, and also help you in the resource optimization. And the fourth important trend is about the security first. That is the kind of a approach you need to take. Security first DevOps. That's what you call DevSecOps. And it's no longer an afterthought. I said in the early stage. You need to integrate into your entire development lifecycle and deployment process. So DevSecOps can be focused as part of the automated security checks and ensure that security is a shared responsibility across all the teams. Fifth important trend, which is again a very important area where I'm trying to focus, is on the multi-edge, also edge computing. You may start witnessing the fact that edge computing in this autonomous world is gaining a lot of prominence, and DevOps practices will really extend the edge devices and applications. Edge DevOps will involve a lot of deploying and managing software at the edge of the network for real-time processing. Very critical for all autonomous applications. This becomes a edge DevOps play a very important role. Sixth important trend is about what we call SRE, or observability, or AI ops. Advanced observability tools and AI ops for different operations of the IT are becoming essential. You need to continuously monitor, troubleshoot complex for the different complex distributed systems which are deployed, and also enable a lot of proactive issue detection and resolution. So observability and AI ops are also becoming as part of the product centric integration as part of that. Over and above, you see, because you are embracing multi-cloud also, not serverless DevOps also becoming a very important focus of bringing the practices. Now serverless DevOps is trying to focus on the event driven architecture and the automatic scaling. It is trying to bring a lot of efficiency into this entire culture of embracing it. And data ops is another important trend which you cannot ignore, because data is the 21st century oil. And a lot of data, managing the data pipelines and analytics within the DevOps principles is very critical today in every organization. Streamlining such data integrations, quality assurance, and delivery among the data driven decision making is also becoming a very important entity and focus in this entire journey. As we getting into the generative AI adoption, and many other controls need to be brought in. Ni- Another trend which you need to look at is a regulatory compliance. Now you may start listening a lot of times compliance as a code is becoming a very important name, and trend, where you need to look at the automated regulatory compliance checks. So bringing such kind of data privacy regulations like GDPR or CCPA becoming a very stringent. So integrating as part of the DevOps core practices can be a very important considerations one need to look at when you're trying to build a product centric development. Over and above, cultural transformation is also very critical, because you need to be empathetic in nature, and you need to bring that inclusivity into the entire considerations and build that ethical uh, organization structure as part of embracing the culture of DevOps. And looking into the overall hybrid and multi-cloud DevOps, you also need to start bringing such kind of a focus on multi-cloud strategies, where you want to create a DevOps pipeline which can go into the multiple domains. We have seen so many transitions where the DevOps to the NoOps to the AI ops, they are all not replacing each other, but they are trying to complement each other for driving the fully managed and serverless platforms. This is very different directions, different needs which are emerging within the enterprise one need to really look at. And these practices are really getting aligned with that emerging technologies. That is the reason I told in the initial part of my response, DevOps future is very promising, and it is trying to deliver faster, more reliable, and more secure software, and adapting to the new emerging technologies, making it much more relevant.
Great, Bala. Great. So, from the insights you shared, so DevOps have multiple practices to address each of the needs. It can be AOps or DataOps, Edge Ops, or different kind of ops. Even I think a financial angle, FinOps is also
Yeah,
spanning out. And
definitely.
great. So it should be considered in the early days of DevOps adoption. If you have any enterprise applications, obviously one piece or the other piece will be an ML driven or AI driven. In future, without an AI component, you may not be able to deliver any product or platform. So the data ops and AI ops will be dealing with that elements of the things. So when you choose the tools or the practices, the implementation needs to consider all these aspects in an early implementation itself. So I hope the teams may have some questions. I think, could you please throw some more light on Edge DevOps? One question for you. Can you please address that? Then we'll go to the next.
So Edge DevOps is very basically when you're trying to look into some of the autonomous systems which are part of the things. You need to look at the different technology participating. That IoT, Internet of Things, playing a very important role, and autonomous capabilities which need to be built will be very very important. So what I want to communicate is employing the decision making capability at the edge level is very very critical. I'm just taking the example of the autonomous car, uh, or autonomous factories or autonomous entities, whatever you want to call. Every time a processing need to be done, earlier the traditional method was to send that particular input to the data center or a cloud, get the process done, and get the output for making the decision. But this takes a lot of network lag. Now, what is happening today is for getting the instantaneous responses, instantaneous decision making capabilities, there is a lot of power given to the edge devices. And edge devices are capable enough to process that specific data and offer that particular services. Now, DevOps plays a very integral role because when such kind of a capability is offered at the edge devices, you have certain code which is running, and you need to create such kind of a pipelines to push the changes to all these particular edge devices. So edge DevOps demands you to create edge pipelines, and it could be significantly higher. And edge pipelines can also bring in other culture. Some of the pipelines might require certain features, some of the pipelines does not require certain features. So again, feature flag patterns, which is part of the DevOps 2.0, where you can say some features can be going into this devices, some features can go into these devices, can be really enabled through that edge DevOps pipeline. So which will really empower and add additional capabilities at a faster level, to drive the changes and make the things much more transparent to the end users.
Great, great, Balam. I think the modern applications, just like AI and ML components, Edge is also playing a major role with
Yeah,
a lot of automated devices coming in picture. We communicate to the devices instead of the software nowadays. So Edge
correct.
is also a mainstream, going to be a mainstream at least. So coming to the overall your experience, you shared multiple customer cases and everything. So can you share some information on one DevOps implementation? After the implementation it went encountered some challenges in a very high level. What kind of challenges after implementing the team may be encountered and stopped the implementation or rephrased or restarted the implementation aspects?
So I'll take an example. One of the services company which we were trying to work. So they were initially working on a very traditional and siloed approach to create the development and operations, and it was continuously leading to their slow releases, frequent errors. A lot of customer dissatisfaction was existing, and that's where the DevOps trend was really emerging. So when I was trying to go and advocate the thought that DevOps will be the new way of driving the change, and employing such practices can really bring a lot of change to the uh, so, to the entire problems what you are trying to address now. And so first important factor, first challenge, I would say that there was a lot of organizational resistance. So to bring any kind of a new change into the ecosystem, you need to really prove that capability. So employees who are part of the operations team and development team very very accustomed to that particular roles, they were not easy to buy in that particular change. So there was a resistance to transition to the new DevOps culture. The second important thing which we faced as part of the uh, ability was like bringing that training and skill gap. I wanted to fix that particular thing, and people were not ready to uh, adapt to that. So we need to address. There was a lot of difficulty for me and my team to make the people understand and realize how you need to train yourself and upskill yourself into the new tools and bring the new practices as part of your development culture or operations culture. The third thing is about the mention about the legacy systems and infrastructure, right? There are a lot of financial legacy applications which were existing in the system, and for us to create that DevOps pipeline was more challenging, and it is not easy to adapt. And we faced a lot of problems which are leading to a lot of compatibility issues and bottlenecks at that point of time. And and inadequate testing was also a different challenge that also we need to really look at. And people had a lot of ambitious timelines in the initial stages, and that was not easy for us to maintain because DevOps transformation was taking little amount of time than expected. And there was also a lot of communication breakdown which was there as part of the development and operations. They were not able to drive that with a lot of synergy. So there are, as part of the rollouts, we faced a lot of setbacks. Frequent software release failures were there, increased downtime was there, the spike in customer complaints were also there. But what we try to continuously offer back to the customer, that we will be able to make get to the stage of faster delivery and improved quality uh, very soon when you're trying to adopt to this particular practices in a holistic way. So what we learned in that particular journey is addressing the resistance early within the organization and getting the stakeholder buy-in can really drive your vision in the right direction. Investing upfront in the training can really upskill your associates and drive that opportunity and ensure the team is able to drive that DevOps practices with a lot of spirit. Understanding the landscape of technology and how you integrate that landscape with the CI/CD pipeline tool sets is very, very critical. If you do not understand, you get into that burden. Cultural transformation was also very important because we need to bring that collaborative culture between the dev and ops teams, and that is very, very important. Rather than passing the buck, they need to collaborate and drive the change and embrace the change. And bringing automation testing into that entire culture was also very important to improve the software quality. And rather than rushing, we were very, very focused on driving the automation culture, prioritize that automation testing, which really helped us to manage the change later. And another important lessons what we learned as part of that implementation, like setting the realistic expectations. Initial part of the time you may take when you're rolling out the DevOps transformations, but later when the teams gets matured, when the culture is established, you'll be able to seamlessly deliver the things. So do not rush into the implementations and rollouts. Set realistic expectations, understanding the team culture. Lack of understanding can result into a lot of trouble. And building such kind of effective communication across the organizations between dev and operations team can help us to resolve the issues promptly and help us to manage the changes much more efficiently. So DevOps really uh, taught us a lot of things more than just of adoption of the tools and processes. It demands a lot of deep cultural transformations and strategic, well planned approach to make it successful. If you don't do that properly, you continuously face the challenges.
Great, Balan. I think most of the enterprises, even though they are started the DevOps journey some 10 years before, still they are facing these challenges in terms of the team alignment consideration. They may not be considered the legacy systems that still there in the enterprises, how to do the DevOps with the legacy systems. Team cultural aspect is the major hit. And also, obviously, the test automation, any system you take, it lacks the automated test cases. So all these concerns are there in most of the enterprises. Thanks for bringing that challenges to the team. So as a closing note, if you have any specific resources or reading materials or references, anything for the team to refer back.
Oh, there are plenty of materials. If you are a beginner in the DevOps, I don't know how many people will be really beginners, but I would definitely advise people to look into the Phoenix project with by Gene Kane. which really brings the DevOps principles and goes through that entire engaging story. There is also another handbook, a DevOps handbook written by Jin Kim and Humble, which really deep dives into the overall DevOps practices and how do you implement DevOps pipelines in the organizations. And you also have a lot of platforms like Coursera, EDX, and Udemy. NASCOM Future Skills Prime also released a lot of DevOps courses, which are more suitable for you to understand the introductory part and the DevOps fundamentals. But it's important that you yourself be a practitioner by creating the DevOps pipelines. It could be the open source pipeline, at least in pipeline, Microsoft, Amazon, or Google pipelines. There are more lot of pipelines which are available, which you can explore to experiment. And always follow the DevOps blogs, because there are a lot of experts who are trying to talk about the blogs in dev.to, dzone, and a lot of articles which gets published, which really help. But if you are a really a seasoned practitioner, but you want to understand what is happening across the world, then you may really look into the. There is a very good book on continuous delivery, reliable software releases through build, test, and deployment. I think this from Jess Amble and Dave Farley. That is one good book what you can really look at. The second book which I recommend everyone is, because you should not only look from the DevOps standpoint, that is also observability and site reliability engineering, which Google advocates. So how Google is running that production systems is something which you can witness in that particular book, which is written by a group of people from Google. How Google applies SRE principles. It's called Site Reliability Engineering. How Google runs production systems. Very good book to look to understand how Google is running such kind of a reliable systems. And beyond that, you are working on DevOps, means continuous deployment is very integral part. Kubernetes and up and running is very good book, which gives a deeper insights into the container orchestration. Because today in the modern DevOps, you see a lot of applications are getting developed in the serverless mode or microservices mode. So Kubernetes will be integral part. And since it is part of the DevOps culture, infrastructure as a code is another important skill one need to develop as part of a critical component of the modern DevOps culture. So, infrastructure as a code is a very good book by Keith Morris. You can look at that. Beyond that, there are a lot of white papers, podcasts, conferences, online courses, and communities which are there in the DevOps, which you can really look at. And events like this, LinkedIn invites, can also play a very important role for you to get an understanding what is happening in the DevOps areas.
Thanks, Bala. Thanks for joining this discussion on the DevOps area and sharing your experience and the insights into various DevOps elements. As you correctly said, sometimes SRE and DevOps are treated like an enemies, but they are cousins. I think they are close to
Yeah.
each other. So we will drill down into SRE in another episode, maybe later now. So thanks for spending your time with us. Thanks,
Thank you.
team, those who joined the discussions. And if you have any further questions, I hope you know where to connect with Bala in the LinkedIn. Please keep the connect and explore the DevOps area. We'll come back with another episode of DevOps Dialogue. Maybe the matrices or anti-patterns, SREs. Let us deep dive or learn from the practitioners. Thank you all. Thanks, Bala.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.